I do embrace the atonement. Now, there's different theologies of the atonement, and I'm be honest with you, and this probably give you a heart attack. Please don't let it. Just pick one.
Oh no.
But this is the thing. Let me explain what I meant by that.
You gonna give me a heart attack, man.
What I meant by that.
All things theology, all things theology. We chop it up properly without an apology. Gotta give doxology to God hollow because this is how we do it at All Things Theology.
But I want to actually shift the conversation just a
Sure,
little bit
sure,
because you
sure.
brought up something about Jesus, and I was listening to something you said very recently. I think it was posted on the church's Facebook page.
Oh boy, oh Lord, I'm in trouble for real,
I
y'all now.
I do my research, man. I do my research.
You'd have been in some of my sermons. I'm really in trouble.
But no, you were giving a speech. It, I mean, it was a podium outside, and there were some other gentlemen in suits. I think you'll
Oh
understand the
yeah,
quote. So the
yeah, I know.
quote,
Yeah,
you
go
were
ahead.
talking about Good Friday, and you were like,
Hmm.
I know we like to preach. It is finished on Good Friday. We like to
Hmm.
preach good. And here's the quote you say. You said, I want to push back on that, and the that was it is finished. You
Hmm.
said
Hmm.
because it is not finished. And so for
Hmm.
me as a Christian,
Hmm.
who
Hmm.
values the atonement of Christ, the
Hmm.
substitutionary,
Hmm.
propitiatory work of
Hmm.
Jesus,
Hmm.
I was taken aback.
Sure,
Okay,
sure,
so
sure, sure.
why don't you
Well,
explain what you mean? I'll,
well,
I'll
well,
give you that stance first.
sure. Well, first of all, this is what I meant by that.
Okay.
Yes, I believe Jesus had an assignment on the cross, and yes, I believe the assignment was to die for the sins of humanity. I don't. So I'm sure y'all think I'm a heretic, and that's fine. But I'm not a heretic on that. All right. What I meant by that was this: when for me, when Jesus says "it's finished,"
Hmm.
that particular assignment is finished. For me, that's for
What
me.
what what assignment
When
are you referring to? That just to be
that
clear.
assignment of dying for humanity, for the sins
Okay.
of humanity,
Okay.
for me, that's not the only assignment of Jesus. You know, now, if you are a finished work person, which I assume you are, finished work would be everything that's salvation, all that happened on the cross.
Right.
Then I can understand why you be outraged by my statement. But I'm not finished work.
Hmm.
I'm not a finished work person. So
Hmm.
so for me, um, what happens on the cross is really just the beginning. Yes, that assignment is complete. But when we look at the ministry, when we look at what Jesus is about, healing the sick, giving sight to the blind, what is Jesus' first sermon? The
Sermon
Spirit of
on
the Lord God is upon me.
Sermon on the
The
Mount.
Spirit, not the Sermon on the Mount, even though that's a good one as well. But I'm thinking Luke 4 when he says, "The Spirit of
Oh,
the Lord God is upon me." For when he's quoting Isaiah.
and I want to get into that next, but go finish what you're
Sure.
getting to.
But what I really mean by that is I think it's erroneous. Um, I shouldn't use. Let me not use the word erroneous. I'm sure I'm already in trouble with your folk. But I think as much as we talk about the sovereignty of God
Hmm.
and talk about God being all powerful and God being all knowing and God being omnipresent, to suggest that everything that Jesus was meant to do was done on the cross, I just think that limits God. I think it limits Jesus. I really do.
Okay.
To me, it suggests that there's nothing else to be done. And that's so far from the truth, brother. There's a whole, I mean, I think we're just about in the state of hell right now. So, I mean, there is more, there is much more work to do. Is what I'm saying. There's folk to be healed. There's folk to be, now I know the theology, well, once people get saved, that should happen. Um, it should happen. It should happen, but I'm not sure it always happens. So my point is, um, yeah, when I said that, I was just saying I was challenging this notion. It is finished, as if that's it. You know,
Yeah.
as if that's all God. That's all Jesus was sent here to do. There's nothing. I mean, it sounds, and this may sound. I won't. Let me not
Hey,
go there
you have the range to
because
be
no. Let me let
open
me
and free
let,
as you
let
like.
me let me not go there because I was gonna say it almost sound, and some people will say this a false e- a false equivalence, and it might be. So I need not go down this rabbit trail. But it sounds very similar to deism. Okay, and deism says God is the creator. God creates the world. It's the watchmaker analogy. God
Okay.
makes the watch.
Yeah, yeah,
God winds the watch up, but then God sets the watch down
yeah.
and never comes back
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
watch.
So allow me to address that real quick, and then we can move
Sure,
to something
sure.
else. A little less hot seatish, but
Okay.
the reason why I don't think that's deism is because the reason why deism makes that claim is because they don't believe that God is actually involved in human.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
whereas that's
Exactly.
that's that's very different than what we're saying. We're saying it's finished because God Himself has come and intervolved Himself with human interactions and dying on the cross for them, and so that's why I think it's totally different than deism. But
Okay.
let's move.
And again, I wasn't completely comparing to the deism. I knew, but that's my point.
Okay,
Is to suggest, you know, is finished. But what is finished?
right.
Are we suggesting that there's nothing else for the Lord to do? There's nothing else to be done?
And
So
so I would
that's
say, and not in His atonement work, I would say no, it isn't. But let's get
mm,
to because the debate between you and just to remind people, uh, Reverend Jermaine Marshall was on a debate or discussion. I'll call it discussion with Owen Strawn. And it was a lively discussion. I do encourage you guys to watch that. Actually listen to Reverend Jermaine Marshall. Don't just throw bombs before you even start the video. Actually listen to what he says, and show respect. He's made in the image of God, and so I hope that I display that to you today. Everybody